Pregame Show is the world's largest virtual tailgate, featuring fans of the 6-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
Fires down the middle for Gordon, reaches up, extends, lands in the end zone, between two defenders, touchdown, Patriots!
Hardy, Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and Tamara Brown are here to do the grilling as your hosts. This week, the Patriots are on the road against the Arizona Cardinals.
James White cuts it under the right arm, cuts it upfield, driving forward, diving to the goal line! A touchdown! And a title for the Patriots!
I can't believe it!
Hardy, Mike Dussault, Paul Perillo, and Tamara Brown are here to get you ready for the game.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
Now, live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show presented by Dunkin.
And we begin. Patriots Pregame Show fueled by Dunkin. Hardy, Mike Dussault, Tamara Brown, and Paul Perillo here at Gillette Stadium, even though the Patriots are in Arizona to play the what?
I thought they were here.
No, they're not. It's an away game.
Oh, that's why there was no one here.
Right. Yeah,
No.
Wow,
I know.
got him pretty. Actually, you know what?
It was early.
Traffic, not that much different.
On 95?
Everywhere.
I
95
agree.
and Route 1.
95 up here, in the Norwood, Foxborough area. Yeah, very heavy. I wasn't
Magic of the
expecting
lights.
that. I was
Perhaps.
was not expecting that.
Perhaps not.
Has anyone toured the Festival of Lights at Gillette
Oh,
Stadium?
you're dang right we did. Every year.
That's So with the
that's a
fam?
Mike Dussault
Family
special.
tradition.
Well,
Yeah.
his kids are young.
Not that young.
Not that young.
What ages?
But we like it. 14 and 10.
Oh, no.
We make 'em do
You
it.
shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Thank you. Thank you, Hardy.
My wife bribes them with chocolate-covered popcorn. Like, come on, everyone gets their own bag. We'll drive around.
I think last year or 2 years ago, the neighbors took my son because no one else were like, we're not going.
I'm not going to that.
If you want to go, get in their car right now. They're leaving. They won't even notice. Just hop in the back.
It's wonderful. It's a great way to start off the holiday
It's
season.
beautiful. We did do the dinosaurs. That's another story for another time. All right. Did you want us to start talking about football? I'm sorry, Matt. No.
Traffic dinos.
I was agreeing with the dinosaurs. They're good.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so we got Cardinals tonight. A lot of talk this week, not necessarily about the team or the players, but really the implications of this game long term for the Patriots. And I think that's what we're going to spend a fair amount of time discussing tonight.
Yeah, I think it's fair to because last week started with Peter King sort of throwing it out there that for the first time he was able to see a scenario that maybe Bill Belichick breaks the all-time wins record held by Don Shula, but not in Foxborough.
Yep.
And prior to that, it was, the idea of Belichick, no longer being the Patriots coach next year or even in 24 was kind of a talk radio thing, kind of an us thing, just, I don't know, like what would happen if this, now this isn't like a national guy sort of posing this as a possibility. And then it was kind of jumped on by, Tom Curran, I think, had some talk about it, subsequently during the week. So it's no longer just a talk radio thing. I don't know if I feel much differently about it, but I do think I might change in terms of your setting the table, Hardy. Depending on how the game goes tonight and the remainder of the season goes, if it's a lifeless, listless, team the way it was last Thursday night, well, let's call it what it was. That was bad football.
Yeah.
That was uninspired would be a great word for it. If they play that way down the stretch, then I think everything's on the table.
Yeah, the mistakes and, everything we've been watching since it started. It relates primarily to the offense, but I think you can, just generally relate it to the whole team and, the lack of kind of progression by the defense going against Josh Allen. A little frustrating. Jets did fall apart yesterday against, the Bills, but still, why can't we force a 3-on-out in the first? You're seeing other teams compete with these teams.
I would say the opposite, fall apart. They were in that game with the last drive.
Maybe that was the wrong way to put it. But, why can't the Patriots? I'm sitting there just shaking my head the whole time. But, I think you're just seeing more of the same. And here we are at the end of the season. And, you're going against a team, at least on paper, record-wise, that this is your last one that you should beat. All the rest are going to be wars.
They have to win
really
these two
good
games
teams
on this trip, this desert trip. Arizona and Vegas.
So if not
gotta win 'em
now,
both.
and if you don't put it together now, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to. So that's all feeding into all this.
You guys both have the same pen. Are those issued by the team? And
Yeah.
is there
Yeah,
any
you
way I
have to
can
use
get
it.
one? I don't.
Tamara should have
no.
one.
I don't have a pen, but
No,
I
you
was
have
hoping
to-
one of those.
No pen?
No pen?
Just a paper mate.
I'm not cool enough
The
to
blue.
have a pen. I'm not cool enough to have a pen, guys.
Tamara, do you have any long-range concerns about this team based on not just the outcome and the final score of this game tonight, but as Paul laid it out, if it's a listless, lifeless performance, if there's something that does not look anything like a vast improvement from the last time we met up here in the wee hours, do you have any concerns like what that could mean? Or it doesn't have to be concern, but just any thoughts that this could implicate the team down the road?
Yeah, I think so. I think, obviously the team has lost a few times this season, and the locker room still had some bit of life to it. I feel like after that loss on Thursday night against the Bills, it was a way different energy than I've felt in that locker room. It almost felt like a balloon had been deflated almost. And so I feel like if they don't use tonight to get right, then I think that this season could really, fall by the wayside more than it already has. And I'm just really hoping that they get at least one win out of these 2 games, because honestly, the ball's in their court. I feel like with the Chargers losing, I think, what was it, last week? Obviously, they won yesterday, but I think they have the opportunity to get back into that 7 spot. And so I'm hoping that, they use these 2 games to come away with a win. Because like Mike mentioned, these are going to be 2 teams, more Cardinals than Raiders, obviously, that they could come away with a win, but they're going to have to start now to get everything right.
We'll talk a little bit later as to whether or not one win out of these next 2 would be enough, because I'm kind of with you, Paul. I don't think getting a win in the next 2 weeks is enough for
have to have it tonight. Tamara's right. This is a bad team they're playing tonight.
All right. So now that we're refocused on tonight, boys. Tonight.
Let's talk about it in the room tonight.
Let's do the keys to the game.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, Mike, and Tamara's keys to the game.
Why did I steal your key to the game also?
You have the key. You have the right one.
They are listening in Glendale? I want to say they're in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah, it's Glendale.
Okay. So let's really do a bang-up job on these keys tonight. Everybody's huddled around their radio, Little Orphan Annie style. Where's that little chatterbox? Ready to hit the keys so that they can be victorious. We begin with you, Tamara.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know why you're starting with me. I haven't finished my coffee yet. I feel...
we can
I
go
feel not energized.
Fine. Deuce, key to the game. Go.
Don't forget to drink your Ovaltine. No, sorry, just playing off that little
crummy commercial.
Mine is find a way. I think we've been, I don't know how many preseason, regular season games we've been doing keys. Good start and don't turn it over and protect the quarterback. And
it never happens.
I think all the clean football things are certainly true. Don't fumble the handoff on your first third down that you face in the biggest game of the season would be a great place to start. But
just sounds a very negative key so far.
Look, let's just find a way. I don't really have any illusion that all of a sudden this is going to be the 2007 Patriots offense out there and they're going to be throwing the ball all over the Cardinals. They are what they are. They're probably going to have one running back that they trust again tonight in Stevenson. Jacoby Myers, their most reliable receiver, is out. We've got issues at tackle like you've had all season. Find a way. Somehow make a play on special teams, make a play on defense, get a stop when you need it. I feel like this game is going to be back and forth, kind of down to the wire. Last play kind of makes it. And I'm sorry.
So
I know
many
it's going to
things
be late.
I don't like about your key. I think it's a crummy key.
Find a way to win. That's just
find a way. Whatever it takes.
I don't think he's expecting a 30-point win. He wants to just find a way.
He's talking about it, but the Cardinals are a crummy team, and you want them to. What?
I mean, the Patriots are right there with them.
Well, no.
Have you watched the Patriots the last couple of weeks?
How dare you? The notion that their key to victory is to just figure it out and run a trick play at the end to eke out a 1-point win.
I didn't hear the
I
trick.
don't love
I didn't hear
that
the
key.
trick play part.
Well,
It's not a trick play.
whatever it is, whatever it takes tonight. I think
Trickery?
the style points are over. You know, we're not going to come out of this being like, well, there it is. That's the Patriots offense we've been waiting for. I don't expect to see that, but I just find a way. This team is what it is at this point. What matters now is just getting a win and trying to stay in the playoff hunt for another week.
All right.
Find a way.
I'll accept it, I guess.
Do you like the Ovaltine one better? We could have stuck with that.
Kind of. Paul, you ready?
Yeah, I just think this is a matchup between teams that do things very, very poorly in the red zone. The Patriots have one of the worst red zone offenses, and the Cardinals have one of the worst red zone defenses. So make the Cardinals see red.
Ooh, that was fancy.
You have to
Get 'em
win.
mad.
You have to win that matchup. You have to find a way, to steal Deuce's phrase, to make their weakness succumb to your weakness. You have to find a way to have more success in the red zone. I know that Belichick had talked about a week and a half ago about, we scored from outside the red zone a few times. Like, you can't rely on like 35-yard touchdowns on a regular basis. They got one last week, and they got one, I think 2 the week before against Minnesota. What's the common denominator? Well, that's like all they got. Like, I think they're 0 for their last 7 in the red zone, something like that. It's not a formula for success. And I think that Arizona will find a way to move the ball and score some points. So you need to win in the red zone tonight. You need to find a way to run the ball better down there and get the ball in when you're inside the 20.
That's how it's done.
Oh,
That's a key.
I failed.
Okay. A little bit. It's all right.
You didn't
We're not
mention-
perfect.
it's
A
nothing
little
but
jump
Ovaltine.
in my step from Hardy. I got an attaboy.
Get the gold star.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hardy.
Excellent. Tamara, do likewise, please.
I am. So my key is for the Patriots offense to answer the call. Similar to what Paul said, I really need the offense to not just talk about it, but be about it. Like, I'm tired of hearing the same thing, like, oh, we need to work on this, we need to work on that, day by day, we're working on it, we just need consistency. Okay, you've had like almost the entire season, and we've seen no changes. And so I think this is a game, to Paul's point, with this Cardinals defense, that the Patriots offense can rise to the occasion, kind of not leave it up to the Patriots defense to win the game. Like, they need to answer the call and carry this team to a victory.
So
I mean, why not?
offensively answer the call.
Yeah,
I like that.
answer the call.
So I'm in third place now?
That's
Yeah, 1, 2,
that's a
3.
good key.
Like, stop. I'm just tired of them hitting like the snooze button. Like,
You're
oh,
right.
we'll work
No.
on it. We'll fix it next week. We'll fix it in practice. We're working on it. Like, no.
Now, this is my favorite part of Keys to the Game, where I read my key that I sent to Matt a few days ago. And
And you
I
try to
said,
figure out what you meant.
don't commit the Cardinals' sin.
Oh.
So here's what I think will be a fun exercise. Deuce, what do you think I meant by that?
Well, I did Google cardinal sin because I was like, what actually is the cardinal sin? It feels like a religious thing. I mean, does it
does
go back to
feel
like
like-
Adam and Eve or something?
It does
like
feel
that,
that would
Yeah.
be
Is that
that
it?
would be original sin.
original sin.
Okay, but a bit more, yes.
It feels like an 80s movie to me, that vibe. I don't know.
Can
That's
I-
what I'm
Paul,
getting
what do
out
you
of it.
think I meant by don't commit the
Oh, you meant
Cardinals'
football.
sin?
Don't lose to a crappy team.
Kind of.
4-8 Cardinals.
I did have a more specific. Did you have any thoughts as to what I maybe
I think this
thought?
is a bad key. Like you said,
is.
Mike's key was bad. This is a bad key.
I'm in fourth. I'm definitely in
This is
fourth
a bad
place.
key.
I would say the Cardinals' sin for this game is allowing the Cardinals to go out and score points in the first half, because they have shown they can score points in the second half. As bad as this team is, they are ranked much, much higher up in the league. I'm not saying they're like top 5.
I did not know this.
But they have scored more points in the second half by a huge margin than they have in the first half. So to me, the Cardinals' sin, if all you're worried about tonight is a victory, right? Just finding a way to win, to your point,
Thank you.
Deuce,
Yes,
right?
that's my point.
Don't let this team score points in the first half tonight, because they are almost certainly going to score.
So if you give up some points early, it could be a long night.
That would be the Cardinals' sin.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Still fourth place.
That's what it is.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
We're going to have our guest here momentarily, so we're just going to wait for Howard.
Former Patriots
Well-
Football Weekly alum.
Oh, really?
Howard Balzer.
Paul, I have
I
a
didn't know
question
that.
since you have your stats already out.
I do.
Are the Raiders the opposite of that? Because they seem like they score all their points in the first half and then lose.
See, normally I
That was
wouldn't have
certainly
that.
the case on
Normally
Thursday
I
night.
wouldn't have
Yeah,
that
I
at the
mean-
ready, but because it's a Monday night game and we happen to be playing the Raiders the next game, I do.
What happened? Oh,
I dropped the paper.
Party foul.
everybody all right?
Just
Everybody all right?
just looking at my handy notes here. 50 in the first quarter for the Raiders, 113 in the second quarter.
Oh, wow.
Back down to 53 in the third quarter and 80 in the fourth. So I just think they're very inconsistent. You know, to their point, like they're 5-8, they're -5 in point differential. That gets you 10-3 in the NFC North. -5. That's about what the Vikings are at 10-3.
The Raiders you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
All right, it is time to go behind enemy lines. Let's do it.
You know the view from New England,
We go behind enemy lines.
but what about the view from the other side?
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah?
I was on with you guys in 2018 Thursday Night Football, and I was told I was the favorite guest of the show.
Nope.
No.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
Well, Howard Balzer is going to take a run at that favorite all-time Patriots pregame show guest as he joins us now from Arizona. Howard, you're on with Hardy and Mike and Tamara and Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you all doing?
Doing good. We're just we're talking about the battle between these two teams tonight, and I don't know what the expectations were for the Cardinals going into the season. I'm guessing a bit better than where they stand right now, and the Patriots can certainly relate to that.
Yeah, no question. The expectations were higher, although there was some reality going into the season that they were going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games, and the beginning part of the schedule was pretty difficult. And they felt if they could, get to those, 6 games with, with a competitive record, that they would be okay. And they were 2-2 after 4 games. But the one thing that's hit this team in droves this year has been injuries. And it's just piled on one after the other on the offensive line. And Hopkins came back, and then Hollywood Brown was injured in the game before that. This will be only their second game together that they've played all season. And so the offensive line only has one starter that's playing tonight that has been consistent all year. The other 4 guys after tonight's game will have missed a total of 26 starts. So it has been one thing after another for this team, and it certainly contributed to the 2-6 record over the last 8 games.
Howard, is there a sense, though, of optimism to get Hollywood Brown back and Hopkins? You just had them before the bye playing together, like you said, for the first time. It seems like, I know you're still missing some guys, Rondale Moore, but does it feel like getting those guys back, it can, finally get a chance to see what this Cardinals offense might have been if you had everybody playing together?
Yeah, that's what they feel. And in the last game they played, of course, they were on bye last week. The last game they played 2 weeks ago against the Chargers was one of their better games. And the offense was functioning a lot smoother, a lot more in rhythm until the fourth quarter, that is, when they went 3 and out on 3 possessions when they had a one touchdown lead. But they were still better than they had been. And so that's what they're looking for. That's what they're hoping for. Certainly they were hoping that Rondale Moore would be out there. He missed 3 games at the beginning of the season. Now this is his second game that he missed. But the other thing is the game before these 2, he played 2 snaps before going out with an injury. So he's essentially missed 6 games. So they haven't had their full core out there, but it's getting closer, and they were able to run the ball a little better against the Chargers. Now, then again, the Chargers aren't very good against the run. We know what the Patriots are capable of on defense, but they definitely feel that they're starting to get some of the guys together, and even on the offensive line, where I mentioned the issues there, at least some of the guys that are playing now have been together for a few weeks, and they're developing some continuity, although they will be playing their 9th different offensive line combination in the game tonight. That's what this season has looked like on that line, and it's made it difficult, especially the loss of center Rodney Hudson. Here's one little number for you. Rodney Hudson, last year and this year, the team is 11-5 when he plays, and something like 3-7 when he doesn't, and 2-6 of that is this year. So that's been a big factor for them, is not having Hudson on that offensive line.
Howard, what is it with the Cardinals playing at home that they can't see?
I don't know that I necessarily include that one in there on a neutral field, especially with all the 49ers fans that were there. But still, they've won 1 game at home since October 24th of 2021. and that it's just mind-boggling what's happened. And so it's strange, it's weird. No one like I said, no one has the answer, and they're a team that just seems to find ways to lose a lot of times rather than finding ways to win.
Howard, what can you talk to me about Kyler Murray and his play first and foremost? But I'm also interested in sort of his place, among his teammates. It seems like there's been some back and forth a little bit. I know outside the organization, some former Cardinals have been critical. What is his standing right now, within that locker room?
Well, it's interesting because obviously when we ask teammates about him, they're not going to talk bad about him. And so, but most everyone does say that DeAndre Hopkins, of course, says, hey, he's been a great teammate. I love having him as my quarterback. He needs 10 other players on offense to be able to do the things that we should be able to do on offense. Other players speak to the fact that he's growing as a leader. I mean, he's in his 4th year in the NFL. He has a certain personality about him that I think maybe rubs some people the wrong way. And when they lose games, then the barbs start flying from a lot of people about body language and leadership and things like that. But the sense I have is that he is respected in the locker room, although, like I said, guys do acknowledge that he is growing as a leader and getting better. And so, but I think he's dealt with the losing this year, a lot better than he has in the past, I think. This is a quarterback who never lost a high school game and hardly ever lost in college. And so it was a big adjustment losing games. But I definitely think, at least from the way he's reacted, the way he interacts, that he has been better after losses and even during, tough games and frustrations than he has been in the past.
Sounds oddly familiar. A quarterback who never lost a game before took the helm for a football team. But I imagine some of that started rubbing people the wrong way. I don't know how early on. I remember the headlines last year when there were these stories getting out, I think, from his agent and talking about his contract and things that he'd be willing to. And it seemed like, some of this back channel stuff that you just don't expect from a team leader, and a lot of times there's, it's a big roster. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of personalities. But if there's one person on a team that you wouldn't expect to be making overtures like that, it's the quarterback. And I imagine that rubs some people the wrong way.
It definitely did. And, back at the beginning of the season, back at the beginning of the offseason, right after the Cardinals have been embarrassed in a playoff game to the Rams, and all of a sudden comes word that Kyler Murray has scrubbed all images from his Instagram about the Cardinals. And then shortly after that, his agent puts out this all capital letter. Some have called it a manifesto. I don't know what the best word is to describe it, but saying how he needs a new contract now, not later, now. And that did rub some people the wrong way, including those in the organization, including the owner, Michael Bidwell, who 3 days before that had publicly said, we are going to take care of Kyler Murray, but these contracts with quarterbacks in their 4th season for those first-round picks are complicated. They take a lot of work, and most of them happen in the summer. He went public and said that, and yet the agent came out with that reaction and then took some shots at the owner, Michael Bidwell, on social media, questioning his desire to win. And I really believe that led to some of the things that they put into the contract for Kyler Murray that backfired on the Cardinals with the whole home court clause thing that they ended up taking out. But I think a lot of that was the owner, because he didn't like the way the agent had handled the situation, and that reflects on the quarterback, no doubt about it. But this year, once camp started, a lot of that was forgotten. But once the losing began, then we know in this league how the focus goes on the quarterback, no matter what else is going on the team around him.
Howard, just one more from me on the defensive side of the ball. Certainly some talented guys between Collins, Simmons. I know Budda Baker, came back quick from the injury to his lower leg. You have talent. It just doesn't seem like it's quite come together yet. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think it's a good observation. It's been kind of like a roller coaster. They played well for the first half of the season for the most part. Then as the offense has slumped, then the defense has had some issues with giving up big plays, especially giving up long drives. I mean, in that game against the Chargers, as I mentioned, they did get them off the field 3 straight drives in the 4th quarter, but then couldn't get them off for the final one and ended up losing on a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So they've had good moments, they've had bad, but I think if this team was better offensively, that would mask some of those issues. They haven't generated a consistent pass rush, but a lot of that is because this team is playing from behind in a lot of games. So we could spend a long time talking about the things that have affected this team this year, and certainly the defense has contributed to a certain amount of the problems.
We generally like to get a final score prediction. So if you've got one, great. If you don't have one, it's not okay, and we will talk a lot of smack about you afterward. So it's up to you.
I won't have people talking smack about me, and I've tried. I haven't really gotten a good feeling about this game because I see what the Patriots have done or have not done, certainly. And without Jacoby Myers, you always know the defense is going to present problems for a team's offense. The Cardinals are 0-5 in turnover ratio in their losses this year. In 5 games that they've had a negative turnover ratio, they're 0-5. And so, to me, they're going to have to take the ball away some to win this game tonight. So, looking at all that, figuring it's probably going to be a close game unless a lot of weird things happen, I picked the Patriots by a field goal.
All right.
That's only because he's a Patriots Football Week alum. You know that.
Oh yes. Well, yeah. We all know
Howard
that.
goes back a long way with us.
I didn't want to blur the lines. We're supposed to be behind
absolutely.
enemy lines.
But we're really not. He's like embedded. He's
I
a spy.
know. I know.
He's embedded.
Yeah, I'm not an enemy. It was always great being involved with Patriots Weekly, and I almost when I found out it wasn't going to publish anymore, I was debating whether to take the final check and just have it framed because it had Robert Kraft's signature on it.
I on the other hand had a party when we no longer had to do the paper.
but I didn't frame it. I cashed it. So.
Good for you.
Well, Howard, you're in Arizona covering the Cardinals. Is it Phoenix PHNX? As you pronounce it, just like it looks phonetically there, or?
Yeah, PHNX is the website.
Right.
Technically, it's gophnx.com.
Okay.
And a lot of local site that has been around for a little over a year, and it's kind of fun being involved with it and writing for the Cardinals there. They do a lot of podcasting too. So
okay.
Interesting site that's all internet based.
Excellent. Well, Howard, we appreciate the time and good luck tonight. Thanks for being on. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, Howard.
All right, there he goes. Howard Balzer there. You can follow him on Twitter at @HBalzer, BALZER 721.
He's a pro. Sounds like a pro.
Oh,
He used to write an NFL notes column for us in the paper for a lot of years. He and Paul Domowitch from the Philadelphia. Domowitch was very good, very cutting columns.
Yeah.
Does it
Domowitch
like a
used to
national
have.
perspective within the within the paper?
Yeah, there'd be like a major issue maybe around the league, and he would do it, and Howard would be more focused on like just sort of bouncing around different issues.
Howard also is on Sirius XM and does the weekly Hall of Fame radio
I was going to
show.
say, I believe he's also one of the Hall of Fame voters.
Yeah,
Howard
he
Balzer.
is. He's a
been
Hall of Fame voter, and he's on Sirius XM NFL radio.
He doesn't do like a
Good
hard
guy.
rock show though, or anything like that, right?
So what do you do? You talk about the players then, Howard? How does that work?
Do you play music? How does that work, Hardy?
Don't. Let's continue here with more phone calls, shall we?
We shall.
All right. Patriots Pregame Show. It's fueled by Dunkin, 855-PATS-500. Emails are coming in at webradio@patriots.com. We'll get to those as we go here tonight. But Cousin Patty in Agawam leads us off. Pat, what's going on?
Good evening, everyone.
How we doing?
evening.
Well, the 2022 New England Patriots managed to do it. They managed to take one of the biggest homers in this whole freaking area in the all of Patriots Nation and turn me basically into a negative mess. You know, I don't.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Deuce.
Hey.
Deuce is always sneaky negative, though, Paulie.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, like Paul, you brought up a good point during the week. How since Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins have played together, I think you said they haven't scored less than 28 points. And if that's the case tonight, And the way this team has looked against athletic quarterbacks, I don't see them winning. I'm picking the Cardinals to win 31-17. You know, I just hope that the offense at least looks a little bit competitive at this point. And again, I don't want to be this negative, but this team did it to me. But after last week's game, it wasn't the fact that they got their ass kicked by the Bills. It was more or less like everything that we heard after the game. To me, it seems like Belichick might have already lost his locker room. And I hope not, but I don't know. That's all I got, guys. Low expectations for Cousin Patty tonight, but either way, let's go, Pat.
All right. But Pat, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks. There are a couple of times, you know, each year I think I kind of like snap out of it and remember that, you know, for all the negativity and all the bad feelings that are kind of surrounding this team right now, you're 6-6. I mean, we were joking earlier about the Cardinals. They're a bad football team. Well, so are you. Right now, I think the Patriots are a middling team. I think they're in the middle. Now, they may be on the low side of the middle because they haven't shown sparks where people
I would
thought
agree with that.
they're really, really going to improve. But at a 6-6 football team, if you're a Patriots fan your whole life, like,
This is unacceptable.
I am out on this team. I am so done with these guys.
But
relax.
I think if you watch, I mean, I'm not going to try to hit too close to home here, Hardy. Okay.
No,
Who would you rather be right now? The 6-6 Patriots or the 6-7 Lions?
Well, quite frankly, I'd rather be the 6-7 Lions.
Why?
Because they've won 5 of their last 6.
And how do they look doing it?
They look like they're improving.
Right. If the Patriots were playing really good football, like if it was more losses like the one against Minnesota than the one against Buffalo, I don't think people would be as depressed. Mm-hmm. But most games, the offense looks like it did against Buffalo, not the way it looked against Minnesota. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you feel like there's only one way they can win. Low scoring, maybe weather-related, or the other team pukes on itself. Whereas the Lions can win, you know, like all of a sudden, like I don't think the Lions are all that good. I don't want to, you know, pump up Hardy's
okay.
ego
let him
here.
have his time.
But the Lions' defense looked like it was one of the worst defenses I've ever seen for about the first 5 or 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. The last 5 or 6 weeks hasn't looked that bad.
And their offense
has been pretty consistently good throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think either team is going to make like a lot of noise in the postseason. But and for next year, like I really don't know that I would say, I'd much rather be a Dan Campbell-led Lions team and building on what they did this year. I don't even say – I'm just saying, like, going into the next game.
I'd rather have their roster.
I'd rather have their roster, and I'd rather have –
I'd like to be getting Jamison Williams right now.
How do
I came very close to sending you a text yesterday.
Well, how do Lions fans feel right now? Pretty good.
Yeah.
They're feeling pretty good.
Well,
they're 6-7,
but
and they play pretty good.
That's my point, and I know it's because – sorry, Tamara. I know it's because – like the Lions are really bad and the Patriots are used to being really good. And I understand. But I'm not even talking about like the mentality of what you're used to and what you expect. I'm talking about the way the teams are playing.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can stop it right there.
That's it.
Yep,
yeah.
That's it.
And
I mean, even the way the Lions played the Bills on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Like, you can walk away from that loss like, okay, like that. It sucks that we lost, but we played really well. We were competitive all night. We didn't put people to sleep watching this game.
And it feels like for the Lions, it's, you know, something's coming together for them right now. And will it end up in the playoffs? Maybe, maybe not. But it just hasn't felt like anything's come together for the Patriots. It feels like each game is just kind of dependent on who they're playing, but it's roughly looked the same, especially on offense throughout the season. Mistakes, they can't really, you know, stack plays together. Certainly, you know, executing in the red zone and long, sustained touchdown scoring drives, not much.
Now, I will say this. The Patriots play the Cardinals and the Raiders, 2 bad teams. But then they finish with Cincinnati, who is as hot as anybody. Miami, which has some problems right now, so that's a game that you might feel better about. And then Buffalo, on the road against Buffalo. You win. You find a way to win, like, you know, 4 out of 5. Then you're going to feel differently about it because you can't just beat everybody because the other team does something. Yeah. Like if you beat Cincinnati, Miami, and Buffalo, you probably started playing much better football, and then maybe your mentality changes. Right now, if someone were to tell you, well, they're gonna beat Buffalo, or they're gonna beat Cincinnati, you would probably say it was probably 22 degrees with 35-mile-an-hour winds,
and somebody got hurt, or they were resting guys, or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, these are numbers, and I believe these are updated. when the opponent scores 25 or more, we all know they're 0-11. Do you know what what the opponent's the record is when they only score 15 or more? 4-13. 6-34, 15 or more points they allow.
This is the last 2 seasons?
3. Well,
seasons?
2 plus.
2 plus.
Like, they have to hold you from 14 and under. They're 12-0.
Yeah.
When it's 14 and under. That's what I'm talking about in terms of your mentality. And you start saying to yourself, yeah, we can win some games. They might win tonight. Maybe they'll lose tonight, win Sunday.
And I would also say that I think some of it is on Barmore being out. I think he was an attention guy. I think we bought the cheese on Dietrich Wise a little bit. The year 6 breakout, he's kind of been quiet now. He was, unblockable in some of those early games against some of the more overmatched teams. But it's no question that everybody's getting that kind of tingly feeling. And I don't want to overstate, taking up Cameron McGrone and Jamie Collins from the practice squad, but I do think it's interesting that you brought up these 2 mobile linebackers who've just been kind of sitting on the line. Like, why? And maybe it's just like a special teams thing.
I just think it speaks to the desperation.
Yeah. Like, we got to find some speed. We're going against this guy, Kyler Murray, who can run.
Yep.
We need to have something to change to if it's looking exactly the same as it did with Bentley and Tavai and Mack Wilson and Raekwon McMillan when they went against Lamar Jackson, and the other mobile quarterbacks that they faced this year.
Now, I do think that that's a key to watch tonight, and Howard talked about the banged-up nature of their offensive line and how many guys. I mean, you just look, DJ Humphries and Rodney Hudson, those are 2 pretty solid offensive linemen that are on IR for the Cardinals. And what did he say? It was 9 different combinations they've used. So they've had the kinds of problems that you've had with their offensive line, even more so.
Yep.
So maybe this is a night that the pass rush gets back on track. And I heard Zoe talking about, one of the things we were talking about Judon. They maybe Dietrich Wise is kind of caught up with him a little bit. Why don't you see if you can move him? Why don't you see if you can
electrocuted
rattle a few more things around there?
Okay, I don't need you to yell at me because
I don't believe I yelled at you. I don't believe
bit.
I ever raised my voice. I'm speaking very calmly.
Anyway, like I was being scolded.
Anyway, the point I was trying to make is we're focusing on Judon and Wise, and what I think I heard Zoe make a comment with Hardy on Hardy's show today about the lack of stunts, and I think they've been doing the stunts all year. And he said we haven't seen a lot of the ends looping in with it. I think teams have kind of caught up to it a little bit. Now we'll see what happens tonight with a bad offensive line and probably one with some inexperience, playing with one another. Maybe they get confused. The Vikings were all over that stuff on Thanksgiving night, and we thought that might be an area they could exploit with Christian Darrisaw not playing that night. I think that the stunts and the schemes are how they generate pressure, and it hasn't been there the last couple of weeks.
I agree with you, Paul. I thought Buffalo looked ready for it, and even with the backup guys that they were kind of juggling at left tackle, they seem not to have a problem kind of passing guys off. And I mean, I just think we're getting down to now. It's a talent issue. When you have a guy like Barmore and you have a guy like Matthew Judon, and I say that knowing that Barmore wasn't setting the world on fire, but I think he's certainly a guy that takes attention and is just a really tough guy on those stunts because he just is so aggressive and quick off the snap that he takes people with him. So I would look to that too as far as the production, but I think something to focus on in the offseason is getting more of those kind of guys up front that you don't have to run as many stunts when you can get guys lined up on one-on-one and they can win. And right now I think Judon's really the only guy, and I don't know how many one-on-one chances he's really going to get in these games until they get a complementary piece that makes problems.
Can we talk to Mike in Arizona before we break, Matt? He's been holding it for a long time. He's at the game, and I want to boots on the ground type of thing here. To use a.
That's our roots as the pregame social. It used to be sort of a pregame tailgate.
Yeah.
It's going back to our
People
roots.
drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
But Marie, Matt, you can appreciate boots on the ground. Same thing, right? What Mike in Arizona is doing. What do you got for us, Mike?
Twins. Yeah, we're pulling up to the stadium right now. So we're just sitting in this massive long line pulling up. But no, you guys missed a very big key to the game, and that's disrupting Kyler Murray's Call of Duty server. Yeah. No, I'm actually a lifelong Patriot fan. I've been living in Arizona since 2007. So I've kind of gotten the perspective of both teams. And I'm telling you right now, dude, Arizonians, we are fed up with Kyler Murray. We're done with both of them. So it's kind of funny because the sentiment kind of gets reciprocated on. Right, you've got Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, where Arizona's like, we're done, get him out of here, we're sick of him. And then on the Patriots side, everyone's like, get Bill out of here, we're done, we're sick of him. And it's just like, it's kind of funny sitting in the middle watching it. But one of the biggest things tonight is if the passing game for the Patriots is going to come alive again, it's going to be tonight because of Byron Murphy being out. He's one of the best. He's one of the better defensive players for the Cardinals. I mean, really, Budda Baker's all you have to watch out for in the secondary. So if we're going to light him up, tonight's the night. But I would say on the flip side of that too, like in all seriousness, Kyler Murray is really feeling a lot of the heat out here in Arizona. I've worked close with the team on merch and stuff, and I know quite a few of the guys personally, and I'm telling you, he's feeling the heat too. So I think this is kind of one of those games where everyone's like, hey, Bill's on the quote-unquote hot seat. You've been hearing it all week. I don't really think he is, but, you know, he's definitely feeling, you know, the noise is starting to raise up. You know, so they're like, well, this is a good game for him to come out and prove that here, state game, whatever, you know, lock up the playoffs. Well, not lock it up, but get back into the playoff race. But then on the flip side, you've got the Cardinals that could be equally dangerous just simply because Kyler Murray, this could be one of those games where he's like, I'm not going down without a fight either. And, you know, he's got one of the better receiving cores in the NFL, plus his little legs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got to take 10,000 steps, but he can get to the end zone pretty, you know, he can get there pretty quick.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, Mike, enjoy the game. Thanks for the call. What it boils down to is this. There's no circling of wins. There's no thinking that any opponent is going to be easy. The Patriots are going to have to, for whatever reason you want. I don't care that they're 4-8. I don't care that they've struggled. I don't care what, you know, whatever you throw at the Patriots have shown that they can find themselves in situations that seem very, I guess, acceptable for a competent football team to to compete in and thrive in it, and they've fallen short multiple times this season. So, yeah, if it wouldn't take Kyler Murray having a fantastic game to give them problems tonight. They can give themselves problems. So it's going to be first.
I mean, this is like when we walked into the Bears game, like how we felt going into that game.
Yeah.
Similar situation. That team wasn't very good at the time. Justin Fields was like, meh. Like, they had so many issues. Like, they weren't even allowing him to throw the ball, and now, like, Justin Fields turned around and became a lot better.
Right. I just think, real quick, I personally feel like this team worries me more than maybe some people like out there. I just, like they said, I know the offensive line is an issue. There's no question that they got backup guys protecting Kyler Murray, and that can go badly. But when you just look at the stuff that killed the Patriots, I mean, Hopkins is as good as they come.
They have the pieces that hurt the Patriots.
Kyler Murray, I mean, I think if you're seeing Cameron McGowan trying to chase down Kyler Murray tonight, I don't know if it's a good thing. They haven't been able to put it all together. I mean, we talked about it this week where you look down and, Robbie Anderson, A.J. Green, Dortch, our guy, Dortch. I'm going to probably yell.
You
Dortch
like him, right?
I just like his last name.
Oh.
No, he's pretty good, though. He's quick.
I think he's pretty good.
But, I mean, he's like the fifth receiver. How many calls have we gotten on the show about, what do you think the Patriots get A.J. Green, right? What do you think the Patriots could get Robbie Anderson? I mean, we get these calls. And these
literally,
guys are like
they're
their
like the
fourth
fifth and sixth
option.
guys. Here's, want to know what worries me about this game? I know we have to break real quick. I keep hearing people talk about the Patriots having the edge, and every one of them is related to either the Cardinals' injuries or their dysfunction. I haven't heard anybody say
because you're better.
Kyler Murray stinks, and he won't be able to get the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, who stinks. We'll take him out of the game. I haven't heard anybody talk about the matchups.
The matchup.
Right.
That's what
they're a bad
team.
team.
Right.
They're bad.
Like everybody talks about their dysfunction or their injuries. They've used like 77 players this year, which is the most in football. Something like that, right?
Yeah, and meanwhile, who's playing right tackle for the Patriots over J.J. Watt today?
Yeah, and supposedly, according to our own Evan Lazar, early warm-ups came out, and Trent Brown and Yadni Kajust weren't out there. And he said, Evan says that Brown is normally not out there, but Kajust was the last time he was active, which was in Minnesota.
He's still on the no warm-up plan.
So who knows?
All right, we'll step aside here. We want to thank the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Great memories are made of Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them. Indoors or outdoors, scenic views or city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season, plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway at visitma.com.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
$1 million? For picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
To use whenever and wherever it's needed.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots. Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Olympia Sports, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including 6 String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar. Watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix eSports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com. Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Methodist Episcopal Church. Methodist, the arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Are you sure this is all stuff that has happened on the show? Some of it doesn't sound professional.
It's an AI chatbot.
Hey, Dom's is now the official steak tip of the New England Patriots. Who was it before? But now it's Dom's. Dominate the grill this season with a tailgate box subscription. Visit domsausage.com to choose your plan. Get a curated box filled with their quality meats delivered to your doorstep, ready to grill for the game. You'll be the MVP of the tailgate season.
I got it.
Count it. All right, back to the phones. 855-PATS-500, web radio at patriots.com. We go to Andre in Connecticut. Yo, Dre.
Yo, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
Hey, listen, you guys were talking earlier about who would we rather be, the Lions or the Patriots. I'd like to introduce a third team, the Panthers. You know, you see they've got a Hall of Fame defense here. They've got, you know, they fixed their O-line, and we should be looking at the Panthers as a team that's, you know, that's building it the right way. So I'm off the Patriots to make the postseason. I know we're not going to make it, but I'm just looking at priorities for 2023. I'd like us to fix the tackle position. So let's draft a left tackle, get a right tackle in free agency, And then, let's look at some linebackers. I'm someone who thinks that we should be trading Judon this offseason. He's a prime trade candidate. Clearly he has some value for a team that can actually contend next year. So let's go ahead and trade him, and then let's see what we can get. So I just want to know what you guys think about draft priorities, fixing our O-line, fixing the linebacking core, maybe getting an extra corner to play us outside of, Jack Jones. Like, what can we do here? What can we do to fix this team for 2023? Thanks, guys.
On to 2023. Okay.
I do think tackle
I
is
mean, absolutely,
priority.
absolutely. I mean, you just, they've been unreliable this year, and I mean, credit to Paul, who was all over it, from the get-go. I think inside a mobile middle linebacker. But we're back on that train. But somebody who, I think is smart and can process these, mobile quarterbacks and make plays. Every time I watch Fred Warner, not that I think you're going to get Fred Warner, but
those
that
guys
kind
are
of guy
unbelievable.
is just,
Greenlaw and Warner. And I'm watching the Ravens yesterday, and you see Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith dropping deep into zones, picking up passes. Now it was Mitch Trubisky, so I don't know if those counts, but they were still plays.
But I mean,
I don't really see a lot of those kinds of plays made by Patriots.
No, I mean, and throw even throw Arizona, who you're going to see, Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons kind of playing together. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these teams with two athletic mobile linebackers that can cover ground, and I think they're kind of caught in the middle between Jawan Bentley, who's real good against a traditional kind of front and power run game. I'm sure next week against Josh Jacobs, you're gonna say, hey, this is Jawan Bentley looks great, but as soon as you get against these other mobile quarterbacks, I think you're in trouble. After those two positions, though, weapons.
And I think that, Mike, adding on the two things that you were just talking about between a really good middle linebacker and also weapons, not bargained weapons. I think they really need to go out and to what we've been talking about all week. I don't want them on a discount. You have to go out and spend money for things that are really going to be valuable to you winning games.
Yeah, it's the old thing. The Patriots have spent the second most money on wide receivers in football. Would anybody say they have anywhere near the second best core of wide receivers in football? No. So I think Tamara's point is dead on. If you want to get a difference maker, pay him, $18 million as opposed to Devontae Parker $6.5 or Nelson Aguilar whatever the case may be. I think you can fill out your depth with guys like that, but you need a big dog. But tackle is hard to overlook, and I hate wasting high draft capital on offensive line. But if you want a good left tackle and you can't get one in free agency, you're going to have to take one in the first round, I think.
Yeah, and I think if 2021 taught us anything, especially this free agent period, you're not going to build an elite offense through free agency at the wide receiver position. I think you're talking about trading like the Eagles did for A.J. Brown, but I think you look at a team like the Eagles, the 49ers, teams that just consistently stack receivers in day one, day two in that area, and then all of a sudden you look, and it's all right, not only do you have Deebo Samuel, you've got Ayuk, and then you can kind of build, all of a sudden Devontae Smith has got A.J. Brown with him. And, so I think it can happen quick. I would just say keep hitting the draft. I don't know what they have in Thornton, and I'm not going to, start saying, everything. But
I like that spot.
He's there.
I like that spot. That's a sweet spot to me. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good receivers that were taken between, say, pick 25 and 45.
Pickens.
There's a lot of good receivers that you can get there. So Tyquan Thornton, I'm with you. I'm not ready to call him a bust. Mm-hmm. He's been quiet, but keep at it. Find talent at that spot because I think it's there to be had.
And you can't be afraid of certain guys. I'm not talking about Antonio Brown, which I think we all, should be afraid of. But, Odell Beckham Jr., that was, I think, a great example of somebody. It's I don't want him on the Patriots. Classic, showboat diva wide receiver. So what? The guy proved that he can be part of a winning football team. You don't get to pick and choose, the talent and the personality of a guy. As long as he's not a bad guy, you're going to have to, start be a little more accepting of some different attitudes and some different personalities, and allow these things to be incorporated into your team. You can't turn your nose up at anybody who's just a little too flashy for my taste. You need something that's a little more flashy.
Yeah. Paul, I was curious. I was watching the 49ers game, as I mentioned. Yesterday, they came up with this one.
I'm sorry. We have the inactives.
Oh, let me pause my thought.
Okay, pause.
Didn't we already do this?
No. Off air.
Oh. Yeah, sorry.
And I missed it off.
I could
there.
swear that we said
What
this.
happens when we're
Yeah,
on
Cam
air?
McGrone got elevated from the practice squad and is inactive, which I find
Psych.
there are no real issues on the inactive list.
Okay.
The tackles are both active. Trent Brown and Yadni Kajowski.
Mills
both
out
active.
again.
All right,
But they were out. They were ruled out before the trip.
Yes. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
But to go back to my point, they were, I think it was Kyle Shanahan. When the announcers always are laying things out. Well, the way what they told us, and you're like, all right. But just talking about how we want to have great weapons in place, we want to have a great defense in place to make it easier for the quarterback. And I think you've seen some of that with Purdy, that he's been able to go in and. I don't know if Mac's the guy, but I just feel like now it made a little bit more sense to me when they were saying, oh, the 49ers like Mac, because they have the team in place to have pieces around him where just get the ball to these guys and let them go to work. And I think we talk so much about how hard it is to get a quarterback, how hard it is to get a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are really hard to find. If you're not going to be able to get one of those guys, you have to surround them with talent and guys that are going to make it easy. And there's no talent around Mac Jones right now.
Mike, you're right. Because I think when you look at the 49ers who've had all the quarterback issues that they've had, they still look good. It's like you had Trey Lance go out, break a leg, Garoppolo, foot injury of some sort. Like, you're playing a guy who you really had no intention of playing at all this year, and they still look good. They're still winning games. So,
doesn't your theory kind of worry you?
Which one?
That now it's easy to see why the Niners liked Mac Jones.
I know. No.
Well, if they liked him, they'd have taken him.
No, I know. I mean,
number one, and number two, they clearly didn't value the most NFL ready guy, and they took the least NFL ready guy.
Yeah, no,
right? They took the 1AA guy.
You're right, and I'm just saying that retroactively.
Well, I'm not telling you they were right.
I'm
not telling you Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch were right, wrong, or indifferent.
And I also think part of that formula is like, well, you got to hit on a Fred Warner. It's not like he was, like what he would be now, which is a top 5 draft pick. So, it's there's got to be some luck in it. But I think that's a little bit what's distressing too, is just that there hasn't been luck. There hasn't really been a gem. I mean, maybe you could say Michael Onwenu, but I mean,
that's not a gem. Like, he's a good lineman.
All of this is just a bunch of conversation. I know that I know the original question that got us down the road of talking about tackles and what you need personnel wise, but all that is just if you're overlooking who's coaching this team and who's coaching the offensive players. We'll get to more of that in a moment, okay? Because I want Paul to be here for it, and I know you're going to be stepping out here momentarily.
Oh, I don't have to be here. You guys could talk without me.
I'll
come in and tell you why you were wrong.
We need a topic.
Oh, good. Well, I want to talk to Spee in Fresno first. He's been holding for a long time. Spee, what's up, buddy? You're on the pregame show. What's up?
Hey there, friends. Hey, Paul, before you head out, I just listened to the Logan Mankin Pass in the Past. It was awesome, and it was probably the best one of them yet. But you did neglect to ask one critical question.
What was that?
Well, you didn't ask if and when he's going to suit up and get back out there to help this offensive line this season, because, God damn it, we need him out there.
They could use him. They could use him. Yeah, he was a pleasure to deal with, and I'm really glad that we were able to do that. Matt and I, spent some time working that out, and I think it was good.
Great.
I think it was one of
one
our better ones.
Listen to it. I encourage everybody to check that out. It was so fun. It was. And he's from my alma. Well, I teach at his alma mater, but anyway, for this game, I don't know how ludicrous this take is, but I'm just not ready to give up on the dream that Bill Belichick team can go out there and beat a bad team. That's kind of the hill that I want to die on, for better or worse. And I know I'm kind of intentionally overlooking the loss to the Bears earlier. I'm thinking more about we beat the Browns, we beat the Steelers. Maybe this is a team that can pull it together in a desperate effort to keep its playoff dreams alive. Beat a bad team in Arizona, and I don't know how diluted does that sound?
That's not. I mean, they're favored to win the game. It's not delusion. Yeah, this is a bad team you're playing tonight. Make no mistakes about it. Howard Balzer told you it's a team that can't figure out how to win games. Yeah. They're a mess. As I think we might lose tomorrow.
Arms up. Arms up.
But Spee, I don't think you're delusional at all.
Yeah.
I think that this is a very, very winnable game tonight, and it's, in my opinion, a must-win.
I look at our secondary and their receivers, because they got both those guys healthy now, right? And we're missing a Jalen Mills. I don't know. I guess that's where I'm criticizing my own enthusiasm. But I wonder if they can just kind of slash and burn down the field. Kyler Murray has a vendetta and wants to prove he's not a piece of crap. and they have high talented wide receiver. I just feel like it could be a long day. On the other hand, I just want to believe that Mac Jones wants to show us that he's not a piece of crap either. So kind of like a battle of the who's not a piece of crap game at quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, Speed, thanks for the call, buddy. Enjoy the game.
I just thought it was funny. We saw a shot of Bill walking in with Cam McGrone. I wonder how that conversation went. So you're up to you're up. Just want to say something to Speed's point.
He's walking in. I can't believe I'm actually here, man. Can't believe I'm going to be playing on this field. I can't believe it either.
So something I talked about this week. I'm a nerd, Hardy. I jumped in on Hard Knocks. They're doing in-season Hard Knocks with the Arizona Cardinals. 4 episodes in. So just watched it over the last week, which is just kind of fun. You get to really see the behind the scenes. To me, to Speed's point, what struck me was so many of the conversations that they're having behind the walls. It sounds like the same stuff we're talking about the Patriots, where it's whack-a-mole. Like we just can't avoid making that one error, whatever it is, whether it's a turnover. Hey, one game we have no turnovers, but we have a bunch of pre-snap penalties. I mean, I think the Cardinals are close to the league in pre-snap penalties, similar to the Patriots with their penalties. It's even though they're 4-8 or whatever they are, it's a similar kind of vibe of these teams that yeah, we got talent. We're probably better than what we're doing on the field, but we just can't get out of our own way. And that's just, I think that's what part of the troubling sign is just in terms of coaching is that you thought, all right, we're at least going to have everybody pulling together. They're going to play fairly clean, and they're not going to beat themselves most of the time. But, just going back to the last game where third play of the game, big 3rd and 1, got to get it. Let's have a drive. We botched the snap, So
Paul's out of the studio right now doing his hit with the flagship. When we start talking about coaching, what's he going to say? Yeah, so I need to start prepping my rebuttals because I think it's all just a bunch of blah 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 blah. You do need a tackle for sure, but literally any other position on the field, I feel like. You don't need to address before you need to address what you're doing coaching-wise. What's his problem with that notion?
No, I mean...
You see him every day. What's he going to say?
No, he's going to agree. He's going to agree that coaching is a huge part of this. Like, that is the big piece, especially in the offensive side of the ball.
He said he's going to tell me why I'm wrong.
Oh, no, he just meant generally. He can do that no matter what, whether you're arguing for him or against him.
All right.
Any way the wind blows.
By the way... The dude who called in, Mike from Arizona, who was calling in on his way, I can't believe Morrell did not give him the cool story, Hansel, 3 times when he was, oh, my goodness.
Did you not hear the studio exploding?
I thought he was Howard Balzer calling back. He had all the info. He was giving us the full breakdown.
25-year Patriots fan. He's been living in Arizona. And I'm waiting for it now as I retell the story.
Cool.
It's
cool story, Hansel.
Exactly. No, and it never happened. Daniel in Eugene, Oregon. What's up, Daniel?
Hey, guys. Well, I'm sorry that Paul's out of the studio, but I'm calling regarding play calling. I mean, it's been a big storyline. You guys are kind of touching on it right now. And Matt Patricia's been getting a lot of heat for his play calling, and people are all over him. But I just wanted to get your guys' take because Fred often talks about, I view this as Belichick as the offensive coordinator. And this is Belichick's offense. And how much do you guys think it really just comes down to is Belichick at control? Because it's the same offense every week, it feels like, and we're seeing the same thing over and over again. And I don't think even Matt Patricia wants to beat his head against the wall this much. So I wanted to get you guys' take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bill said blame him if it doesn't work. I mean, when you get into the play call of it all, I don't really think it matters all that much. I mean, I think no matter if Joe Judge or Bill Bell, whoever was calling the plays, they're probably calling generally the same plays. I don't think that everything would be great if Matt Patricia was just calling the right play at the right time. I just think the whole operation starting at the top, it hasn't worked. It didn't work in the summer. It's looked pretty much the same. Talking about whether they're going 7-on-7, 11-on-11 in training camp, and wow, it looks great when it's 7-on-7. There's no pressure, and then all of a sudden you put the defensive line in there, and then they couldn't really seem to do much of anything. So for me, it starts at the top. And the overall implementation of this new system is, and to Hardy's point, you had to unravel it a little bit from Brady. I'm on board with that. But now, how are we going to unravel it from this? Because I just don't see how you're going to run it back next year with this same setup. I think you need to do something on offense. You need to, have somebody a little bit maybe – I don't know if it's new ideas because I don't think you start all over again. But at the same time, I think it's been so dysfunctional that everything should be on the table. I don't want a third year with Mac Jones and another offense. I don't care. It has to be way better than this. It's just absolutely not good enough right now to even threaten, the best teams in the AFC, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think an offensive coordinator, like a legitimate offensive coordinator, if you don't even necessarily have to be more assertive, you just have to come to the table with some ideas and hopefully have enough management style to, if Bill's the type of guy where you got to make him think it's his idea, then fine, do that. Talk about find a way. Find a way to convince the head coach that this is offensively what will work with this quarterback and with some of the guys that you have, and hopefully you get a couple more guys in here for next season. But you need somebody else. And this is the conversation that is dominated here the last couple of weeks. What does this game mean? What does the outcome mean for the long-term future of the head coach and the coaching staff? And we will wait for Paul to come back in on this one. But, blame me if it doesn't work out. Ultimately, yes, he is, the buck stops with Belichick when it comes to the day-to-day football stuff. I get it. But the notion that a more talented or a more experienced offensive guy would just have the absolute same thing because it's Bill's offense and he's going to force it down the throat. Well, any real offensive coach worth his salt would not say, no, we can't do that. I know what you're saying, Bill, but here's what it won't work for this, and this reason. So instead, I think we should do this, and this. We're not talking about a huge difference. We're talking about a 6-6 football team that with some more scoring could be, 8-4. I'm not talking about a huge difference. I'm talking about a couple of wins that actually still have you in the hunt for this thing and could make a difference in a couple of key games.
Yeah, the mistakes and the sloppiness that point to just a team that is not pulling together are one thing. But I think just the injection of some new ideas, like you kind of said, not necessarily to come in and just take things over and all right, Bill, you're not going to be part of the offense now, like. To give him another piece to work with, to bring in a fresh new mind of that maybe has some experience and maybe has an offensive philosophy already established that he can instill, but also that can be influenced by Belichick. And I don't know how everything's going to go in the offseason, and I know we have 5 games to go, and there'll be plenty to talk about between now and then, but it's hard to see it turning around enough to feel like, all right, I think that they have something brewing here. And it just goes back to what we said all last offseason. It's about, Mac Jones and putting him into position to succeed. And I didn't want to believe it when people were saying, oh, he, there's disagreements and he doesn't like the direction this is headed. And, I hated hearing that stuff. But the way it's gone, it's hard to think that was not true.
We'll go to Deshaun in Virginia. Deshaun, Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. What's up, buddy?
Hello, guys. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, Deshaun.
Good. I just want to pick it back off what one of the callers said before about how to potentially get better in 2023. I can tell you what, the Patriots most definitely can get better. If they could take power away from Bill Belichick, like stop allowing him to pick the personnel, because he sucks at drafting. Like, it doesn't matter if it's free agency or the draft. Like, he just doesn't do a very good job. So I believe we can honestly turn the corner pretty quick. Cause we got a good upcoming year, where we're going to have cap space, decent draft capital. But if they can stop allowing him to pick the players, I think we can turn the corner in the next couple of years.
This is a common refrain, Deshaun. You're not the first to do it, so I'm not going to pick on you, but I'm sure Deuce could name 3, 4, 5 players in the last 2 drafts that ended up working out well in terms of draft picks that Bill Belichick was responsible for.
Well, okay. I feel better, before the season about last year's class, and this year's class is, kind of not been that great. So, I agree with the point. You're never going to get Bill Belichick out and, all right, we're taking that away from, he's all or nothing. So, I don't think that's a real conversation that you can have.
No, but I do.
There is some talent. There's no question. But like I said earlier, it's where have you seen one of those gems emerge lately that's really surprised you and gone to the next level?
How much credit do you get for selecting Mac Jones? You needed a quarterback, and he was the one that was left when you picked at 15.
Right, and he went to Alabama.
So you can have that argument, right?
Yeah,
but when it comes to talking about getting wide receivers, that's where I almost put my hand up earlier. I'm like, wait a second. Do you think that's necessarily going to fix it because of the Patriots' record when it comes to drafting wide receivers?
No, and it's and I had high hopes for Thornton, and I mean I'm along with everybody else right now a little bit disappointed in just how he's played, how they've used him, especially at the line when guys get their hands on him. He doesn't really have the sand in his pants, as we said before. Also with Cole Strange, another 2022 draft pick. But
that's hot.
Marcus Jones, no question, he's been dynamic. He's been everything that they need. But the other guys, it's been a little bit up and down, and I think a little bit concerning when you need really good draft classes right now. You need guys to emerge. There was some positivity with Jack Jones, and certainly I think Cole Strange is going to be better in his years 2 and 3. But overall, where this team is talent-wise, when you look around, especially AFC East, we see what the Jets are doing with some of their guys that are, really elevating and turning into top players. You don't see that with Patriot players right now, and that's as big as an indictment as anything, I think.
Paul's back from his radio hit from his chin wag. He's got a diet tonic, so he's probably all set to go. Feeling good?
Yeah. I'm feeling better now. So.
Okay, good. How'd it go?
Turn your mic on, Fred.
How'd it go?
It was short tonight. Short but sweet. I think they may have been backed up. Either they just don't like me.
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Backed up and don't like you.
Nick wants to know, I am not sure what your thoughts are on this. We lost to Lamar Jackson, Tua, Justin Fields, Josh Allen. Those quarterbacks can scramble, and I feel like we struggle against scrambling quarterbacks. Is this a concern heading into the game tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
I would, one of the things that we did discuss on the Sports Hub is something that Mike and I talked about all week. Scrambles are one thing. That's where Kyler Murray gets a lot of his running yards is off of scrambles. He's not as much with the design runs. But does Cliff Kingsbury watch what happened earlier in the season with Baltimore and Chicago and say, we need to dial up some designed runs tonight? That's what I would do if I was going against the Patriots with a mobile quarterback. I'd make them prove that they fixed it.
Because it sure seems like that's what Chicago did. Chicago saw what the Ravens did and said, hey, we haven't really been running Justin Fields. What do you think? Maybe we do it in this one. I also, connected this week just to his hamstring and his health and, how much is he able to even really open it up?
I think he's pretty healthy.
He's had a bye week off now.
And he was very good in the game against the Chargers. Yeah. I almost called him San Diego.
Same thing with Hollywood Brown. He just had one game back off of his foot injury, so he had a week to get a little bit healthy. Hopkins was dealing with an illness earlier this week, but he seems like he's okay. So they got some pieces. This offense concerns me. They have to get after them. They have to get after this offensive line, and if Dietrich Wise, Judon, of course, they got to make their impact felt.
All right, let's step aside here. We will thank Dunkin. Remember, it's always game on with Dunkin, which is why grabbing a coffee is the most important game day ritual. If you want to go half decaf at this time, I wouldn't blame you. But you're going to be up watching this game till about 11 o'clock.
I cold brew. I'm in trouble.
No, not me. I could have one go to sleep 20 minutes later. I'm jealous. No, I need the caffeine, yet I'm still somewhat immune to it. Does that make sense?
I guess.
All right. The official coffee of the New England Patriots is Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'.
Every play, every pass, every performance is perfected on the training field, producing critical data that's analyzed, measured, and studied. Acronis keeps that data safe and ensures it's there to use whenever and wherever it's needed.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in PC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
$1 million? For picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots. Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Olympia Sports, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including 6 String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar, watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix Esports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com. Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Hold on, then finish. I mean, I think it matches up well with what you guys do.
It sounds so dirty.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
855-PATS-500, webradio@patriots.com, which is all fine and good. But Paul Perillo has something for us first.
I do, and I want to apologize because we do not have our video to go with my normal reading of the key data point presented by Demand Science. But I was hoping to maybe get a shot of DeAndre Hopkins when I read this manifesto.
Nuke.
He's kind of impressive. I don't know if you know DeAndre Hopkins.
He's good. He's a good player.
He has
nice player.
Many leather-bound books, and he can also catch a lot of passes. He had a 6-game suspension to start the season. And he's been back for 6 games, and in those 6 games, DeAndre Hopkins has 49 catches for 474 yards, 4 touchdowns. He has had 3 games with 10 or more catches and a 4th one with 9. So big surprise here, guys. Hopkins should be the focal point of your defense tonight.
Hold on, I'm writing this down.
Now,
you send it as a late.
You may say, well, Paul, no kidding, except for they faced Justin Jefferson, and Jefferson was not the focal point, and they faced Steph Diggs, and Diggs was not the focal point either.
Those may have been mistakes.
I don't think they were.
No,
they really focused on Dalvin Cook.
It was a mistake not to focus on them.
Okay. I think you're right.
Poor planning.
So anyway, 6 games, 49 catches, 474 and 4 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, that's the key data point presented by Demand Science.
I don't know how I'm feeling about this game.
I mean, I was just doing the math. I mean, without Mills, just trying to match guys up. I mean, it's some tough choices out there. I mean, and, last game when Brown came back, they were playing him a lot out of the slot. I mean, he's got real good deep speed. That's gonna be Miles Bryant probably on him. I'm not sure. They've still played a lot of man defense this year. I don't know if they've got the horses today to match up, especially if they go 4 or 5 wide receivers. I don't know how much they play that, but they've got the depth to tack the Patriots down to their last cornerback.
You got a double Hopkins everywhere. and Jonathan Jones on Hollywood.
But what about Dortch? So I'm going to keep working Dortch in as much as possible.
Whoever's
That's just a fun name to say, Dortch.
Joe in Jersey. That's fun. That's alliterative. What do you got for us, Joe?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Joe.
I want
Where you
question
going
what's
with that
about
guy?
Hopkins. So who's gonna be on Hopkins? Jones?
I think they're going to use some combination coverages with him. I don't think you can match up with him. Who do you have that's big enough to cover him?
Duggar.
Duggar.
Put in.
Oh,
I thought you said Felger.
I thought that's why I raised my eyebrows to Mike. I was like, did you just say Felger?
No, Kyle.
Duggar. Yeah, no,
Maz on
Duggar
it.
can't cover DeAndre Hopkins.
I'd put Maz on Hollywood.
I mean, he can be involved with like some brackets and whatnot, but you have. I think it's going to be combinations of. It's got to be Jack Jones at least. In some way. Listen,
Careful.
It's not a great matchup.
Yeah.
It's not a great matchup. I mean, he's not a good matchup for anybody. I just read you the numbers. He's one of the premier wide receivers in football.
He's going to get his.
Yeah.
All
How
right.
are you guys feeling about the playoffs, real quick?
I have no feeling yet, Joe.
Tank. I got tank, but what's the point of winning the next 5 games? Like, I don't think we're
Well, if you could win the next 5 games, like that would probably change my opinion of the direction of the team.
And I don't think your draft position changes so dramatically to where you need to start thinking about that. I mean,
yeah, I don't think you're going to be in position to lose all 5, which is then you could really improve your draft stock significantly. I think you'll probably continue along the path that you're on and win some, lose some, and I mean, I'm always for making the playoffs if you have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, if it's a difference between like 4 wins and 1 win, I'll take the 1 win. But if it's a difference between 9 wins in the playoffs and 8 wins or 7 wins and no playoffs, I'll take the 9.
Yeah, but I think this game's an inflection point. I think that's what you heard this week. I mean, regardless of all what you think it means or not, they lose this game and then they got to stay out there for another week. They already spent a week in Vegas this year. I think everybody's ready to get out of there previously. We'll see. I'm not going to get too caught up, and I'm worried about the Chargers because I think that it's right there for them. We know the Chargers are the Chargers, but
Bad
a very
schedule.
winnable slate. And if they win out, the Patriots would have to win out too. And
yeah. Now they're
that's
the
probably
Chargers,
last
and they
stop.
could just go for like a 4th down from their own 2 and
Right.
lose a game. But they have 4 very winnable games. They'll probably go 2-2 in them because they're the Chargers. But
Yeah.
Right.
I see a path to 10 wins for the other teams that are easier than the path to 10 wins for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like,
That's the worry thing. But
I just think you're
the
going to.
Patriots control their destiny.
Yeah, but I think you're going to know. I mean, I think we kind of already know who this Patriots team is, but you're definitely going to know at the end of the season with that bing, bang, boom, 3 games to end of the season. Did they learn anything against Buffalo at the end, all that stuff?
Well, think about it in these terms. If nothing changes in terms of the way you feel about the team, the way you feel about the offense, and whatever that means, whether it's 1 win, whether it's 2 wins, if you don't see vast improvement, you don't see something that is indicative of things really moving in the right direction, what needs to happen with this football team beyond the personnel? We covered that earlier, and I think they need a tackle no matter what happens, and some more weapons would be wonderful. But my feeling is all of that is just conversation unless you get some different type of plan in place for this team, specifically offensively. So if nothing were to change right now, what do you think needs to happen and what ultimately will happen for next season?
Wait,
In terms of the coaching?
Yes.
That's a great question.
So you're saying if
I don't
nothing
have it.
changes?
Nothing changes. You win 1 or 2 games down the stretch here, but the offense doesn't look that much
continues
better.
to look kind of like it looked.
Inconsistent at best.
I'm concerned because it's interesting Bill's comment when he was asked about major changes, and he's like, I'm good with everything, our system, our coaches, our plan, and I'm like, there's no way.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what, Tamara? I'm not that interested in what Bill Belichick has to say I'm not that interested in what Belichick has to say ever because I don't think he's giving us, his true thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we were to decide, we heard from Greg Bedard and his sources earlier this week. People say, this means a lot in terms of Bill Belichick and his long-term future. I find it very difficult to believe, nor would I be able to convince myself that moving on from Bill Belichick, if things don't change, if they are essentially you're a middling team right now and you only get to 8 or 9 wins at the most, that
he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, no.
He's not going anywhere.
Moving on from
but
him,
you,
no, but move Matt Patricia just to offensive line and go get a real coordinator.
Yes, unless they are unable to convince him or he is not willing to change anything, with his coaching staff, then that's when things get scary.
Right.
Because you think, you got to get another coach in here. What makes you think it's that easy to find a head football coach? I couldn't pick one. The guy coaching down in Miami right now is the last person on the planet I would pick to coach a football team. He's doing okay.
Well,
and there's other guys out there who who seem like they've got everything. They've got everything in hand, and they can't get out of their own way. So I be very, very careful when you start calling for Bill Belichick, to not have this job anymore, because it's.
I think there are certain things that are just below the line, and there have probably been certain years. 2009 comes to mind of performances that were just below the line. I mean, I don't think any of us really think that Bill Belichick isn't back there pulling his hair out every time he watches this offense. And I go back to Paul's point. I think it's ultimately if the coaches can't get the players to execute and play the way they want to play, which was what Bill said in 2009, I think dramatic changes are kind of necessary. And what's frustrating is that this is a similar theme for 3 years, and I think you give certainly a buffer with Brady leaving, and we've got to rebuild the most important position.
Got a lot of buffers.
But you're reaching a certain point with, all right, if the team isn't playing well, they're shooting themselves in the foot. We're watching the same movie over and over and over again. At what point do you say there are other good football coaches out there, and is it time? I don't know. I'm willing to hold off on banging the table on that. Certainly, this game tonight will have an influence on how we're looking at these things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see really a scenario that Bill is coaching for his job. I'm sort of with the sort of rational look. The guy's won 6 titles, and now he's had 3 years of sort of meh. I don't think that's enough. But if it completely falls apart down the stretch and they lose, say the last 5, this would be like the last 7 games if they lose out, which is not impossible. Mm-hmm. And we continue to see stuff like Kendrick Bourne after the last game talking about the schemes and the coaching. And then, maybe the question isn't, you're going to fire Bill Belichick? No, but maybe you step in and you say, the offense didn't work with defensive coaches. We need to change it. And you need to make changes. And maybe he says, no, I'm not making changes to my staff. I believe in the structure. Like Tamara said when he said earlier in the week, I'm happy with this. I forget the phrase that he used, but he was happy with the system as it is, something like that. Then I think you have to make a change. You have to do something. If you come to loggerheads, and here's my question.
If he was being honest and real.
Because we could talk about this forever, and none of us has any information as to what's going on with Robert Kraft's mindset, right? We don't know. We're all just speculating. But if Bill O'Brien either isn't available or isn't interested in coming back as the offensive coordinator next year, do you think there will be somebody else other than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge running the offense next season?
I hope so.
No, but do you think there will be?
Yes.
I could see a scenario with Bill O'Brien.
With no change down the stretch, like the same scenario laid out before. You feel exactly the same. Yes, I do think there will be someone else. I don't know who. That's not my job. It's not my job to go out there and find another offensive coordinator.
No, I totally agree with you, and I hate when people say, who you people say, who are you going to get? You're going to fire Belichick? Who are you going to get? Well, I don't know.
Who was Nick Sirianni 3 years ago? And now he's got a 1-loss football team. I'm not to say that he's Bill Belichick, but I just think I would say that coaching reinforcements, because I think you've been hemorrhaging guys. You lost Ernie Adams. You bring in Matt Patricia to be your Ernie Adams. Now Matt Patricia is not your Ernie Adams. He's coaching the offensive line and running the offense. So you can kind of go down. They've been losing these guys for too long. It just feels like, and I said this, Paul, while you were gone, you need an infusion of maybe some established creative ideas. I don't know who that coach would potentially be, but somebody who has an established offensive philosophy and an ability to maybe take things off of Bill's plate, because it feels like he's kind of standing alone right now.
I always say his good things when I'm not around.
Well, I said something really good, too. I said, and the managerial skills to make Bill think that maybe it's his idea too. It's not enough just to come in with these awesome ideas and say, here's the offense. Convince Bill that it's actually, the same way that you're thinking, and allow this person to do this. And maybe someone to just say, no, that's not going to work. Maybe it is some assertiveness is, what has been missing here for a long, long time. Because, like you said, Paul, 6 titles. Who am I to say it's not working?
And I'm not going to tell you. I think that Mike is 1,000% right for the need. I think it's necessary. Like, I would rather have some new Nick Sirianni, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell type young offensive mind than Bill O'Brien. I would.
It doesn't have to be Bill O'Brien to please me. It doesn't.
I would rather have that. I would rather have a young guy with some different ideas and some innovative offense. I'm not telling you that I'm wrong. I mean that I'm right. I just would be shocked. Yeah. If it happens, it looks like
I think we might have the feed going.
We have some
warm-ups. Look at that.
The way Tamara left, it seems like it's suddenly we've got signal.
Suddenly something came up.
We got on-field action from Arizona, where you see Mac Jones back there getting ready to take the field tonight against the Cardinals.
This is Zappy fever.
Yeah,
we are live.
Many, many, many Patriots fans there, according to Scott Zolak.
I love that.
It's a hot spot down there for the Patriots fans.
Well, it is. There's a lot
so
of
this could have been a great 2 weeks for like the hardcore Boston sports fan. I won't go too long with this nonsense, Deuce. So don't lose your train of thought. You had the Bruins play the Coyotes Friday night in a great venue to watch a game, like a college venue with like 5,000 seats. That looked like it was probably awesome. Then you have the game here. In between, like if you somehow were from Vegas or Arizona, like the Bruins played Vegas last night in hockey, and now they're going to Vegas.
Oh, if you could stay out there for 8 days, why not?
Yeah, live it up.
Boston sports.
4 games. Okay, sorry, Deuce. My nonsense is done.
Well, I was just going to say, I know Bill O'Brien is the table everybody, talks about. Is he a table? He's not a table. He's going to go like a pounding the table.
I don't even know what that means.
Sorry, you know what I meant. Or I saw it, and I don't know, I didn't read it, but I saw Phil, I think it was a picture of Chad O'Shea as another guy.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you almost rather somebody who was outside the system, somebody new?
That's what I would rather have the new Sean McVay, Nick Sirianni type.
And do it as like a positive to Bill, as like, you can meld with this guy. You can help this guy, but instead of trying to come up with a new offense from scratch, it was kind of like what they felt like.
I just got to tell you, I don't think, if it's not Bill O'Brien, I don't think it's happening. I don't think Bill wants to take guys from outside and bring them in and give them that kind of responsibility. I think new guys that come into this system generally do so as like quality control guys.
I would say at the bare minimum, I struggle to see Matty P balancing both the O-line and these offensive duties that he has.
But maybe he feels like Billy Yates is ready for the offensive line duties next year, and Patricia's the full-time offensive coordinator, which I think would depress a lot of Patriots fans.
Does that make Belichick that much different from any other head coach in the league? Any kind of a tenured head coach? Like, I don't think most of them would want to bring in somebody totally new who they don't know and try and figure out.
I don't know about tenured coaches or not, because I would, I don't have all the examples off the top of my head, but why does it seem every other team takes a guy who was a head coach and failed and would bring him into their organization as their coordinator? Other teams do it all the time. Like, you see these guys get recycled. And I'm not saying with varying degrees of success, by the way. I don't think they're all good. But, like, Gus Bradley, right? He was a defensive coordinator. You got to be a head coach, failed, and he's a defensive coordinator for someone else. Not the same team that he was used to be with.
Right.
It's somebody else.
So you're saying, why do teams do that?
Every team does it, except for the Patriots.
Well, who's coaching your offense right now? A failed head coach.
Your guys. You
brought him back.
You brought him back to the fold. Same with McDaniels. Like, it's all your guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like let's say.
Well, Cliff Kingsbury.
Now, that's by the way, that's a name. I'm glad he brought it up because we talked about it on Patriots Unfiltered this week.
Oh.
That's a name to file away.
Okay. All right.
That's a name to file away. If he gets fired, I think that's a name to keep in mind.
I don't want to keep.
But like Frank Reich was the guy I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Frank Reich. successful offensive coordinator, went to the Colts, got fired. Patriots don't really have any background with Frank Reich. I just don't ever see something like that happening.
It'd be tough. Jake in Australia. What's going on, Jake?
Good morning, guys. How are we?
We're doing all right.
Good day, mate. G'day.
What time? What is it, like noon on Wednesday there?
It is 11:35 Tuesday morning.
All right. I was only off by a day.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be shooting the TV show.
Okay. What else?
But just wanting to hit the coaching play calling. I know the chances are slim, but if we let Mac, who's meant to be very football minded, call his own plays for a quarter or two.
Somebody asked that earlier today. Why hasn't he, audibled out? Why hasn't he changed any things? And I think Zoe's answer was, I don't think he's allowed to. That is not part of the plan at all for this season. Now, I'm not ready to give him, the reins for.
I see him doing plenty of hand signaling and doing things and giving.
But just just dealer's choice for an entire quarter. See how that works.
I mean, how many NFL quarterbacks actually do that? Any?
I know.
Does anybody just kind of call it themselves?
Peyton?
Well, are we talking audibles or calling plays themselves?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
I would say every quarterback calls audibles.
Right.
But you said that you don't think that. Sorry.
They see how everything's setting up and then call it themselves and see how it goes.
I don't know. It's tough to imagine them giving that type of responsibility and autonomy to anyone, much less their second-year quarterback. Who, look, let's be totally fair here. For all the talk we're doing about the coaching, Mac has not played well. Mac has not.
This is true.
He has not played well
agree.
this season.
No.
So there's plenty.
In a lot of ways, it's the most underreported story in the Patriots season.
So what do you do? You take the day off today, Jake? What are you doing?
So I'm currently at work, hiding out of the wind.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Summertime.
Now you're getting him in trouble.
It's lovely.
All right, good. All right, well, enjoy the game if you're able to watch. Thanks for checking in.
Paul, I'm kind of making.
Thanks, guys, and go Pat.
All right, there we go.
Kind of making myself laugh a little bit here. So I'm just thinking about, we spent all off season hyping the new linebackers and we got to move on. And what do they do in this game? You elevate Collins and McGrone, who kind of symbolized that whole conversation that we had all offseason of trying to move on and get that young blood. And, McGrone,
and the only thing that we don't know, we're going to make him inactive.
And then it's
I'm not upset. I just want to be clear. I'm not upset that Cameron McGrone. You know what I think of Cameron McGrone.
Right.
I didn't see him do a damn thing in the entirety of training camp. I never saw him take a meaningful rep with anybody. So I'm not upset that he's not active. I just think it's odd to elevate a guy and then not activate him. I figured they had a role for him.
Let's grab Anthony in Virginia, and then we'll do the over-unders. Anthony, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so me and my dad have been talking about this, and we think that Bailey Zapp should be in the starting lineup at the quarterback position. Do you think we might be seeing him again this season?
I don't listen, you're not the only ones to think that, Anthony. I don't think there's a chance that you see Bailey Zappi outside of injury or mop-up duty in a blowout win or loss. Zero chance Bailey Zappi returns as the quarterback for this team this season.
Yeah, I think it's just to Paul's point. It's hard to go back. If you were to try to put Zappi back in there, I think you're going to lose Mac. And
then Mac's gone.
Yeah.
Mac's not going to play for anybody, and he's not going to. Look, he's not going to sit out. He's not going to hold out. He's not going to do anything like that. But he's not going to He's not going to. Why would you? You give me this, and I don't even play great, but you're going to sit me now.
Yeah.
And it may not be the wrong decision. What do I know? I barely got a chance to see Zappi, and I was impressed with what I saw. But if you could somehow go forward in time and play two different scenarios, that might be the move. But they're not going to do that to their first-round draft pick.
No,
they're not going to. Are they going to, Paul?
No, I don't think that they will, and I don't think they feel like he's a better option. I think it's pretty clear that they don't feel that way. But I do keep watching what's going on with the Jets, and I am fully understanding that Mac Jones has not played as poorly as Zach Wilson was. But it ain't that different. The offense is doing very little, just like the Jets' offense was doing very little. I think the biggest difference between the two is I think Mac is loved in his locker room, and Zach Wilson isn't.
Yep.
That's the biggest difference. It ain't as big a difference with the play as people think. They're like 33rd and 34th or something like that in the rankings, in the passer rankings.
And it sounds like Mike White is loved in the Jets locker room.
I mean,
and that's why it's happening.
And after the beating he took yesterday and kept coming,
Did you hear the way they
sent
talked
him to
about
the
it?
hospital? Like
Oh.
Zach Wilson, I mean, he might be on the trade market this offseason.
Unbelievable. All right, let's do the over-unders.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
We are ready. By the way, FedEx is ready for the holidays. I want to make sure you knew about that. But we're ready for the over-unders. So what do you got for us there, Matt?
Last week, Paul and Hardy 2-4, Mike 1-5.
Ouch.
Season
Wow.
totals: Paul 38-34, Mike and Hardy 37-35.
Wow, look at us.
Tight race.
It's like a Joe Jackson song. Couldn't get much closer if we tried.
I tell you what,
No?
it's exciting.
I thought of all people, you would appreciate that one.
I'm not familiar with that song.
He's not a fan of music.
I am not familiar with the Joe Jackson song you just
Be
quoted.
much closer if we try.
Oh yeah. Now I know.
You got it from that?
Yeah.
I have the worst singing voice on the planet.
It's
You
kind
got
of
it from
it's
that?
kind of ballady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now
Like
I know.
early 80s ish.
Yeah.
Like early MTV.
I'm going to need this during the game. Let's pull that up.
You sound like Fergie and Jesus. Mac Jones passing touchdowns, 1.5 yards.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
It's Step Brothers. Come on, I'm with you the whole time, buddy.
I'm going to go over for Mac. I think he's going to throw 2 touchdowns, maybe 3.
Yeah, for like the 17th week in a row, I'm going to say over for Mac and lose, but I'll do it. Over.
I haven't seen. Yeah, I'm with you. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he's going over, so I'm going under.
Kyler Murray passing yards, 237.5.
I will take the over on this. I think this is going to develop into a reasonably high-scoring game. I don't want to use the word shootout, but for the Patriots and Cardinals, it's going to be shootout-esque.
Like 30, you think? Or?
More 20s.
Yeah, I've been burned on this a couple of times by teams that I didn't think were very good. In that 237.5, that's not a big number to go over. You can have a bad night and still throw for 240. So I'll go over.
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. I think he's going to have some success throwing the ball today.
All right.
Hunter Henry receiving yards, 30.5.
Yeah, you can do that on 2 plays. No problem. He'll go over.
Yeah, I think without Myers, he's next up in line of people Mac trusts close. I'm going to take the over.
Paul's going on.
No, I'll go with you guys. I was thinking about doing the Hardy thing where he just does the opposite.
To be difficult.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you're going over.
Oh, Mike Leach died.
Oh.
Mississippi State
Oh.
football coach.
Wow.
What an awful story. Had a heart attack last night.
Yeah, that's
Yep. I think Wes Welker was tweeting about it earlier today. And
Yeah, he played for Leach at Texas Tech.
Yep.
What an awful story.
Awful. All right. Moving on.
DeAndre Hopkins receptions, 6.5.
Well,
Deuce.
based on Paul's data point, I got to go over on this one. I think he'll have a bunch of catches.
I would have gone under before that data point. Paul's going to go under.
No, I'm going over.
You know what? I'm going to pull a Hardy. I'll go under. Why not? Just for fun.
That's why they call it pulling a Hardy.
Total team points for New England, 22.5.
You went under, did you say?
Yeah, why not? That's you, Paul.
22.5. I will take the over.
I'm going under on this one. Again, show me something to make me feel otherwise.
Yeah, I'm going to go over, too, with Paul.
And finally, the total score, 43.5.
I'm taking the under on this as well. Oh, sorry. Is that me? It is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was you.
Yeah, I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well by ever so slight margin.
Wow, we're all over the
of
overs.
a hay.
Yeah, you guys went over on everything.
I did.
Lame. All right.
Lame.
We're only going to have a Snickers 1-pack when we do the picks. So we'll take care of that in a few minutes. We'll get to a couple more phone calls, a couple of emails, and tell you about NFL All Day. With NFL All Day, all your favorite Patriots highlights become digital video collectibles called
moments.
Not only can you buy and sell them on a secure marketplace full of thousands of NFL fans, you can also use them to compete in epic game day challenges. Check it out and find some moments from all your favorite Patriots players on NFLAllDay.com.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
$1 million? For picking players? That's a lot of money, DraftKings. You know how many jokes I got to tell to make $1 million? Probably like a half of one.
Take a free shot at $1 million with DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports.
Every play, every pass, every performance is perfected on the training field, producing critical data that's analyzed, measured, and studied. Acronis keeps that data safe and ensures it's there to use whenever and wherever it's needed.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots. Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Olympia Sports, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including 6 String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar, watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix Esports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com. Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Oh, I wouldn't say male or female, but
I
I would
would.
say like my mother-in-law, for example.
Is she a male or a female?
She's a female, yes.
Bingo.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
All right, let's get back to it here. A couple of phone calls, a couple of emails, and a couple of quarters of football. Then we're going to do the post game at halftime tonight, and then we're going to go home.
Yeah.
So that is, we're changing things up for the post game tonight.
Improv.
Yeah.
We'll just improv what
And
happens.
as long as halftime takes, that's how long the post game show is going to go. So like 12, 14 minute post-game show.
Sure.
That will take place at halftime.
Perfect.
And it's going to be of a predictive nature. We're going to pretend that we watched the whole game and do a post-game show like that.
You guys know what happened.
Yeah.
Yada, yada,
No, oh, that's not happening? We're not doing that after all? All right. Moises.
See you Sunday.
Moises in Florida. Go ahead, Moises. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
I predict that the Patriots will win tonight, 35-20.
Wow.
Matt Jones has not been playing well for the last 2 weeks. But guess what? He will be playing good tonight, and I'm pumped. And guess what? I am very excited. If the Patriots win tonight, that would be a nice birthday present to me on Thursday.
Call me now for your free
All right, so your birthday is on Thursday. May I ask, how young will you be on Thursday?
I'll be 41, Hardy.
40. All right. Well, you know what? That's a big one. It's actually not. But happy birthday a couple of days early. I hope you get your birthday wish early. Thanks, Moises.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Moises.
There we go. I'd be shocked they put up 35 points tonight.
Yeah.
Shocked.
I mean, be nice, though, if it was not in question right down to the very end.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying I'm expecting it because I'm not, but it's a pretty bad. It's a pretty bad defense.
I'm going into this with low expectations. Very low
Wow.
expectations.
Wow.
Then I can't get my feelings hurt, you know?
Somebody
Oh, is that
if you
how
go,
it works?
If you go into it not
I
expecting
strenuously
a
object.
lot, but then the Patriots do score 35 points, then you can walk away like,
I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody said earlier this week, like, oh, man, can you imagine if they lose tonight? It's going to be a long week, down in Tucson, having to stay together for that whole time. I said, yeah, that could be bad. Here's something that could be worse. They lose tonight and spend the whole week together, and it really doesn't affect their mood one way or the other.
Oh, you mean they're already
Yeah.
pissy with one another?
Yeah, like it really doesn't
It could
change
be.
much of anything. Like, and this is true, I think, for a lot of players in a lot of games and a lot of sports. They are not as affected by the losses as much as we are.
No, but like to me, like I know exactly what you're talking about, and I 100% agree. I've told Mike this stuff because Mike hasn't really been around for the Super Bowls
I don't have
and
any
whatnot,
rings. I got
so
no
he has
rings.
no reference point.
Got no
And I
rings.
can tell him from post game Super Bowl parties, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference between wins and losses, and I've been at both with the players. Now, obviously, the overall mood is enormously different with the 9,000 hangers on. But with the players themselves, you'd be stunned with how little they seem to be affected. But to your point about being out there for the week in Tucson, it's not necessarily about like the loss, as I don't know how much fun these guys are having and how much faith they have among the program.
Right.
Or as I like to say, the program.
Right.
Yeah.
You like to say program, right? Because Virginia Tech, those like SEC football coach, it's the program. We have tremendous potential, and we are very excited about his upside.
To Paul's point, it's like I don't know how much longer you can buy into something and believe in something when you're not really seeing the results. Like how much longer can you really go to the podium and say,
Exactly.
yeah, we're working on it, we're trying to get consistent, like we have to get back to work, watch more film, like how much longer can you really keep saying that
14
before you're over
and,
it?
and I think like that these guys work really hard. Like I feel like they are under the thumb of constantly hard work, pop quizzes in the hallway, all those kind of things. It's got to be. It's a mental grind even when you're winning, and when you're not having the success that you've been working so hard for, you're left kind of wondering what is the problem? What are the answers? And we all are wondering.
And I think there might be some some issues. I think right now it's more player sort of versus coach, because especially offensively, I don't think they have a lot of faith in what they're being asked to do. But at some point too, if the defense plays reasonably well, and the offense continues to not, like that 10-3 game that they end up beating the Jets. Let's say they lose 10-3 on a punt return. When does the offense defense,
start to have some friction
strife
between the two? Yeah.
Begin? I don't really think we've seen any of that so far, but that could happen too. I think right now they're all sort of wondering, what are we doing? What is our plan? What was our game plan against Buffalo the other night, and how was that putting us in position to succeed? And if you lose tonight and you're out for a week and you can't see your family, you're not with your kids, you're not with you're not home, like that gets cranky. Remember, like when they were out in Vegas just for the summer, and Trent Brown's like, I just want to go home.
It's a long time.
I do think that's on the table with a loss tonight.
Yeah.
Bill in Florida says, any possibility or talk of us landing Joe Brady in the offseason? He's had an impressive stint with LSU and as quarterback coach in Buffalo, less impressive as the OC of the Panthers. However, I think he'd be an interesting prospect to pair with Mac Jones and an offense that isn't completely without talent.
I'm not aware of this person.
I don't know.
Joe Brady?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's offensive coordinator at LSU.
Yeah.
I don't know from Joe Brady.
I mean, wow.
No.
Well, tell us all about him.
It's exhausting being the smartest guy in the room.
It's my understanding it would be Patriots.
No, he is a guy who his star was rising coming off that season, and then he went to the Panthers, and obviously it didn't work. He was part of Matt Rule's staff last year, I believe, and got fired. It hasn't been great for him in the NFL, but I want to see someone like that, someone from outside. That's all. I mean, I just would like to see a fresh perspective.
And I'd like to highlight a point that Paul made this week that I didn't hear anywhere else, mentioning a couple years ago Jed Fish coming in and being here, and maybe he was part of that plan. But I just like that general thing, a guy outside of the organization who's got a bunch of experience that you can plug in.
And what was Jed Fish?
Quarterback's coach.
They didn't bring him in as an offensive coordinator. They bring him in to learn.
Yep.
And that's generally how he does it with outsiders.
That had a very broadcast news quality to it. It must be wonderful to always know the right thing to do, to know that you're always the smartest person in the room.
Did you like that?
And Holly Hunter
Did
says,
you like that?
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know exactly. The scene you're talking about.
It's awful. All right, you want it? All right, let's do the Snickers one pack. Let's go.
One pick. That's all you gotta give me. Just one pick.
So
really
excited.
should be easy. Just one pick. Don't mess it up, cause it's only one pick.
That is Marine Matt dropping science.
I was just having some fun this morning.
That worked. It worked.
I don't know what you were doing.
He woke up in the AM and composed a beat.
I did.
That's what he did.
I think the kids
That
would
was so
say,
good.
I think the kids would say that that's a banger. Did I say that right?
I only
A
want
banger.
Boomer.
A banger?
A banger. A banger.
A
Like
banger.
Maine?
A banger. I think that's what
Not
they would
every
say.
song is a banger, but that's a banger.
That was a banger.
We all do remember Kendall Roy only wanted bangers at his birthday party.
Sausage. Oh.
Not bangers and mash.
Casey Smith is at that party. You remember Casey Smith from NBC
I
Sports
do remember
Boston?
Casey Smith. She was at that party?
She is at that party. She's in the scene, and he walks by, and he's like, hey. And he says something to her. You kind of see her in profile.
Oh. I liked her. She was nice.
She was nice. She's very good.
She's no Gary Tangaway, though.
Who is? All right.
Last week, Paul and Hardy went 4-2. Mike 2-4. Season totals, don't get excited, Hardy. Paul 41-25. Mike 32-34. Hardy 31-35.
All right, so I can't do anything but get within one of Mike this week, but trending in the right direction.
New England -1.
Yep. I'm gonna take the Patriots. I do think it's gonna be close, 1-2 point game, but I think that 1 point's perfect. I'm gonna say Patriots 23, Cardinals 21.
Paul.
So that's another one of those games. He picked a final score that didn't reach the over of which he took
Oh,
the
dang
over.
it. Math.
He's done that many times.
Whoops.
I have a confession to make. All week, I've been asked to pick this game, and I've picked it Cardinals 24, Patriots 20. I am changing that pick for tonight's show. I picked that way on our show in Patriots Unfiltered, and I also picked that way on Patriots All Access. I just want to acknowledge to everyone, I know that I'm being a fraud. Okay, sometimes the number one thing, you have to admit that you have a problem. I am a fraud.
So, but I don't think that makes you a fraud. I think it gives
I'm
you.
changing my
I
mind.
think it gives you an out because after the game you could say, "Hey, I was right. Like I did pick the Cardinals to win twice."
You're 23-20. What's your final score?
24-20 New England. I've changed my pick I've flopped. It was 24-20 Arizona. I've completely flip-flopped. Yes, I am a fraud.
It's you. You're the problem. It's you.
I'm going Cardinals.
Taylor Swift.
I'm going Cardinals 2017.
So you can tie Deuce.
Nope.
If you get this right.
No. He's at 32. 32
And you're at 31.
Oh, yeah, I can. Right. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong number. All right, we got to go. Unless you want to make a pick, Tamara. Okay, good.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
We'll talk to you in the post game.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.